Hi, and thanks for joining me. Some of you probably have seen me other bikes in previous videos if you've been following me ramblings. Libby, the Harley WLA, has been with me a long time now and sees occasional use because she's a bit special. Goldie's been the main ride since she arrived in March, and most of this year's rides have been on her. Al the Bobber, well, he joined us in August. I love all three and they're all so different. We're halfway through October now, and though the weather has been mild so far this year, but it's got to change soon. I've noticed recently some of the trees are starting to change colour, and now leaves are collecting on the sides of the roads. I know we don't want to think about it, but it'll soon be time for thermal gear, and the gritters will be out protecting us from freezing roads before we know it. Now, I'm not a rider that particularly likes being out in the cold and wet, but we do get some half decent weather through the winter. The thing with the three bikes I've got is I don't particularly want to expose them to winter dirt and salt. Al in particular is a fine weather bike with all his polished alloy and almost total lack of weather protection. Goldie, well, she's good in most weathers, but again, I don't want to start getting road salt on the nice shiny bits. So I started thinking that I should get a bike to ride over the winter that I could just take out without worrying, and that I didn't have to clean every time I got back. I'm sure you've all realised what I'm riding by now, so meet Harold the Himalayan. I have been fancying a Royal Enfield for quite a while and was looking at them last year, but I decided to get the new BSA instead. At that time it was the Interceptor or Classic 350 that I fancied, but in recent weeks the idea of a Himalayan just seemed to be the perfect solution. I've watched countless YouTube videos over the past year, so know pretty much what they like to ride, but the big question for me was the seat height. On paper it's only 2 centimetres higher than Goldie, but then there's the pillion seat and the rack that are higher, so could I get my old leg to swing over one? Only one way to find out. So I went up to Eddie's at Tadcaster, he's my nearest Royal Enfield dealer, just to have a sit on one. Absolutely no problem. They didn't have any second-hand ones, but they did have 3 new ones in stock. One in all black, one in blue and white, and a silver one. Now, despite the silver one being the least popular colour, according to the guy at Eddie's anyway, I really liked it. It's got brown accents on the paintwork and brown seats, which apparently many folk really don't like. Anyway, perhaps I've got weird taste, but I thought it looked great, so I went for the silver one. Only had to wait a few days while they did the pre-delivery checks and the registration, and I actually picked it up on Monday. Here's me, the proud new owner, collecting it from Eddie's. Incidentally, Goldie came from here as well. Now, first service is at 300 miles, so I've just spent the last couple of days putting some mileage on him. I thought running in was going to be a bit of a pain, and the book says not to exceed 60 kilometres per hour for the first 300 miles. That's 37 miles an hour. Anyway, like most people, I've just taken it steady, not over revving or labouring the engine. Bimbling about on the back roads means you're rarely doing more than 40 anyway. I've got about 250 miles on the clock at the moment, but the weather's changed now and it's absolutely pissing it down today. I'm off to Stafford for the Motorcycle Mechanics Classic Show at the weekend, so it'll be a few more days till we get out again. but should be ready for the first service by the end of next week. First impressions then. Well, so far I'm absolutely loving it. Can't tell about engine performance yet, as it's just running in, but even at this stage it seems it's going to be perfectly capable of everything I'll need. What did strike me right from the very first getting on is how easy it is to ride. It feels so light even though it's quite tall, and the steering is just brilliant. It almost steers itself round corners. Love the suspension too. It just soaks up these back roads with the crappy broken and potholed surfaces. I'm not an off-road rider and don't intend to be, but I've actually found myself deliberately choosing poor roads and tracks just because it's so good at them. I like the dash layout. It's got just enough info without being too over the top. The spec has changed over the years, and they currently come without the Tripper sat nav thingy, but seeing as I've already got both a Beeline and a TomTom, that's no big deal. They've also dropped the compass, which used to be in the bottom right clock on the dash. I'm told it was pretty useless anyway. That's now where the gear indicator is. You got separate rev counter and fuel gauge, and the usual trips and a clock on the LCD panel under the speedo. One nice touch is the F trip, which is really in place of a low fuel light. This actuates automatically when the fuel level reaches about 5 litres in the tank, and it gives you a reading on how far you've gone on reserve. As it's a 15 litre tank, this is quite a generous reserve anyway. There's a button to deactivate the rear ABS if you're off-roading, but I doubt I'll ever use that. I've already added a few bits just to suit me better. Adjustable levers, they were a bit of a stretch for my little hands. Hand guards, not to protect from trees and stuff, but just to help keep the cold wind off my little hands again. A rear brake master cylinder protector, because that's very close to your boot. And rear pannier frames, though I've yet to get a pair of small saddlebags for it. I'm not intending major expeditions, so probably a pair of expandable throwovers or something of that nature. I will also be fitting heated grips, and it's lacking a USB socket, so I'll probably fit one of those as well. So that's me winter hack sorted. Hopefully I'll still get plenty more miles on Goldie this year, but you will be seeing Harold on journeys later on. We'll see what the weather brings. I'll probably do an update once he's run in and performing to his full ability. See how I'm getting on with him. Anyway, this has just been a short introduction, so that's all for now, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like or a comment, and I'd particularly like to hear from other Hemi owners about what you've done on yours and how you find it. Hope to catch you on the next one, so cheers for now.